Hey everybody, and welcome back to the video blog. I know I haven't done one like this in a long time where you ask questions and get them into me, and that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this shorter one today, is because I have left it for a while. I've done a sort of a different video blog where I get somebody from the car manufacturers when I go on one of my many trips and sit them down and ask them about their cars, and those ones have become very popular. They get a lot of views. For example, this last week did one about the Honda Civic. I did one from Newfoundland about Mercedes GLE, Volkswagen. We've done Kia around. Actually, I should make that Hyundai around the Tucson, WRX, and BRZ with Subaru. So I've done a lot of these manufacturer talk about their cars, talk about issues with their cars. So that's been really quite popular. But I want to get back to doing these ones as well, and that's where you ask questions and I answer as best I can. And the best way to get a question through is to go to my Facebook page. Almost everybody has Facebook, so that's pretty straightforward. It's Motormouth Canada, and send a message in and we'll get them answered. And this is really a shorter one today to get the pump primed, to get people back into sending those questions in. I have a few questions here, but really handing it over to you to get more in, and we'll start doing these more on a regular basis. So I apologize. I have been on the road. I was on the road for 7 weeks in a row going to different car events, and I was just wiped out. So back on my feet now. Neil Quinnell says, hey Zach, do you have plans for the 2016 Kia Optima review? And I do. It's actually loaded into my computer. It's got to be edited, but that one, look for it in the next couple of days. We went to, once again on the road to Aspen, Colorado, which is a beautiful place, but it's at 8,000 feet. Boy, you sure notice the elevation when you're there for just a couple of days. Next one comes from Rodney Chan. Hey Zach, been following me for some quite time. Always love your reviews. Just a question. I'm searching for winter tires for my Highlander, and I use Bridgestone Blizzaks for quite some time. I'm thinking of changing brands. Which would you suggest? Nokian, Toyo, Bridgestone. They are the only brands I could find in my size. Thanks, and keep up the good reviews. That's from Rod. All right, Rodney, this is what I suggest. What have your experiences been with those Blizzaks? Have you found them to be good tires? One issue some people have with them is that they're not long lasting. And one thing I'll sort of explain to you, if this is the groove of a winter tire, and the sipes, like this is a block of a tire, the sipes go down. If they don't go all the way down through the block, when the block starts to wear, then it just turns into an all-season tire. So you want to look for a tire where the blocks of rubber have the sipes that go all the way through the block. So as that block starts to wear down, you still have some of that sipe available to you. That's one of the problems with some winter tires. As they wear down to about 50%, they go from being a very good winter tire to kind of like an all-season tire. Now, I have done some reviews for Toyo tires. They have the GSI 5, which is their sort of mainline winter tire, and I do think they're good. They're quiet, which is good. And they do have the sipes to go all the way through. Nokian, I've had many sets of Nokian tires on my own personal cars. They are, without a doubt, fantastic tires, but there's two kinds of tires that they have. One is called an all-weather tire, and the other one is their true winter tire. The Hakkapeliitta is their true winter tire, which is quite an aggressive tire. If you're living in, because I don't have much information here, Rodney, on where you live, but if you live in an urban area where the roads are cleared quite quickly and they salt and they sand quite quickly, you might not need the aggressiveness of the Hakkapeliitta. You might want to go to what's called their WR, or their all-weather tire. And even their all-weather tire is a detuned full-grade winter tire, so it has very good traction, especially with an all-wheel drive vehicle. I had them on my Porsche Cayenne and they were fantastic. Bridgestone, here's the main thing to take away from this. Go to a trusted brand. Obviously these are the ones that fit your car, but we'll talk about others. Michelin, Pirelli, Nokian, Toyo, Bridgestone, all of the mainline brands that invest in research and development, because those are the ones that typically have the best return, and you can do lots of reviews about what other people think of them. You go to some of these no-name tires that are made in China and imported, they're cheap, and you often get a cheap tire. I'm not saying that they're not some good tires out there. Hankook makes excellent winter tires. Their Pike tire my dad has on his car. He thinks they're fantastic. So there's a lot of mainline brands that are going to do what you need. The big thing is, often you'll find with some oddball sizes is there's not a lot left. So my best advice is to get a mainline brand and try it out. If you liked the Blizzaks before and they did a good job, why not go back? Give them another try. Next question comes from Des Nikakalak, and he says, what's your recommendation between a 2015 Murano and a Hyundai Genesis 2015 in terms of reliability, maintenance, and resale value? Thanks. Now, I have one person that has been really quite vocal here on comments on my channel and on my Facebook page who got a Hyundai Genesis and has had lots of squeaks and rattles and problems with it. And he's been really upset with not only the car, but also the dealer experience. And I've actually sent information through to Hyundai Canada asking them to sort of deal with him. So I'm not sure where that's all landed, but I'm just giving you that. I personally think the Genesis is a wonderful car. He has a different opinion because he's having rattles and squeak issues with his. Doesn't mean it plagues all of them. So I think the Genesis is fantastic. The new Murano, I think, is selling like crazy, and it's going to sell like crazy because it has a lot of value. Premium exterior styling, premium interior, and not a huge premium price. It's actually less expensive than a Lexus RX, but has a lot of the nice features on the inside that you would get with that product. So one thing I'll suggest if you want to look for resale value is go to CanadianBlackBook.com, CanadianBlackBook.com, and type in the vehicles, and you'll look at the future forecast. It's a heart-wrenching thing to do because you paid, you know, $40,000-$50,000 for a vehicle, and then you see the future value just drops right off. But you'll get a projected value down the road for your two vehicles you're looking at 3-4 years down the road to see what you like. So, you know, which one would I choose? They're apples and oranges, to be honest with you. The Murano is a mid-size crossover. The Genesis I would put in as a luxury car and a nice big sedan. Excuse me. The Genesis certainly handles better. The Murano is a very laid-back and relaxed kind of ride, which a lot of people like, but it wouldn't be my choice. Dave Houston, who's a regular here, Double D, says, I wish you would do reviews on used cars. Why? Because of the poor economy. That's all people can afford. Not too many people can spend $40,000 on a new vehicle. Well, a couple of things here, Dave. I don't disagree with you. It depends on your situation. There are plenty of people who can afford to buy or lease a $40,000 car. The problem with doing used car reviews is that when you're buying a used car, you're buying the person who owned the car before you. If the person before was diligent getting the maintenance done, when anything ever came up with the vehicle, was it repaired? Was it taken to a reputable shop? So did they abuse the car? Has it been in an accident? Did it live in an area with lots of salt, or was it, say, from the West Coast where there's no salt? So those are the sorts of things you have to put in to figure it out. So when you're going to review a used car, well, you can have two cars the same era with the same number of kilometers on them. One's beat to hell and the other one isn't. You're going to have a different experience. I take your point, though. Now, the other thing is, there's another compounding factor here. Used car prices in Canada are staying very, very high, if not going up, because we have a low dollar in Canada, about 75 cents against the US dollar. And what's happening is US retailers and groups are coming to Canada and going to the auctions and buying Canadian lightly used cars that are coming off lease 3-4 years old, and they're pulling them down the United States. For example, they spend $20,000 on a car, they go to the United States and they can charge, there's like a 30% premium in there for it, right? So they're playing the currency exchange in order to bring those cars into the United States. So that's bringing the prices of Canadian cars up, which is a good thing. If you're going to sell a car, you're going to get a good value for it. And if you are trading in a car, they're going to have to be competitive on the trade-in. But the bad news is if you're trying to buy a used car, nice, low kilometer, 3-4 year old car, you're going to have to pay more for, which begs the question, maybe you don't want to spend $20,000 on a used car. Maybe you want to spend $20,000 on a new car. And there are plenty of cars, even with the freight and the taxes, could get you right around the $20,000 mark. And there's even cars out there like the Micra. I was driving along past one yesterday on the highway, and I looked at it and I was just thinking, that is a great little car. So sure, most people aren't going to buy the $10,000 one that they have for sale, but you can get a really nicely equipped Micra for $13,000, $14,000. And if you're just looking for basic transportation, that's a lot of car for your money. But there's lots of them like that. There's the Fit, there's the Mirage. Don't like the Mirage. But there are inexpensive cars out there. The Fiesta is always on sale. So there you go. So those are some of the questions I got that I had on back order here and I didn't get to. I apologize for that. But I really want to prime the pump here. Get your questions in. Go to Motormouth Canada Facebook. Put your questions on there and I'll do these more readily. I apologize for not doing this style of question and answer, but I will be doing the other ones with the manufacturers. Don't worry about that. Thanks a lot. Keep watching, keep liking, keep subscribing, and I'll speak to you soon.